Hey, what is going on YouTube? In today's video, we're going to cover the 2024 Home Lab recap. Essentially, I did this last year, and this year I'm going to kind of focus on more of the services in the Home Lab. And then towards the end of this video, we're going to cover kind of what's going to happen with this channel for 2025. So if that's something that you were interested in, definitely tag along. But with that being said, let's just get right to it. All right, so first we're going to start off, of course, at the dashboard. This is something that I had set up a few months ago. So we could actually take a look. So if we go back to our channel, we had set this back up in right here. So setting up the Home Lab dashboard, definitely check that video out. It's pretty cool. We went over the process. We also talked about the developer, and there's a few projects, open source projects that developer is a part of, and I do hope to cover that in the future. But we did this about 7 months ago, and I stuck with it, although I do need to keep adding more to it because there is definitely some more use that could be had. All right, so here on dash.local, we're going to start here at the top with quick links. Here's just kind of some resources. Essentially, it's a favorites bar, but this is something that I access frequently, and I do plan to add a few more links here. But for instance, here's my GitHub repository. This is something that we're actually going to change in the future, which I will explain at the end of this video. But like I said, this is our GitHub. Some public repos and some private repos. Also, I host my Home Lab documentation here in a private repo. So this is definitely useful. Definitely check it out for some of our labs, or most of our labs now going forward, starting back. I guess I did it for 2 years ago, but I started trying to do it more and more for each of the labs. I kind of upload those files into here. Sometimes I forget, but this is definitely useful. I also have all of our scripts, PowerShell scripts, some Python scripts, some Tenable stuff. So definitely give that a check. Over here, obviously, you got the famous YouTube channel, cyberme, which is what you are on today. Just something to reference. Obviously, if I'm logged in, I could log in and get my analytics and stuff. That's something that I check daily, so that's why I have that there. Then if we look down here at the bottom, we have the home network. So currently, this is how I kind of have it. There's a few more devices that are part of my home network, just not loaded into this configuration at this time. So as you can see, I got a downstairs router and an upstairs router. This one's actually using OpenWRT, which is another video that we had done just a few months ago, and that was pretty cool. So OpenWRT here about 3 months ago. Definitely give that a look. It is interesting. It has a lot of useful features. The reason I had set this up is because my current or my previous router configuration or firmware did not enable the ability to have a port mirror. And for a different lab within Onion Security or Security Onion, that was something that we needed, so I installed OpenWRT, and then I stuck with it ever since. But if we head back over, then we got the upstairs, just a typical router, and then we got our Raspberry Pi. This is not going to get me to anything. I got to fix this up. We obviously don't need this here, but there are some services hosted on here, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. Then we got my websites. This is more of a personal project, so I host some other websites aside from the cyberme project. Some business related and some personal. So we just kind of left that there. Maybe we could talk about this in the future, but not relevant at this time. Then here we got services. So these are some of the self-hosted services that I have currently in my home lab. N8N. Again, this was another video that we had talked about a few months ago. I'll bring that up in a few minutes. Pi-hole, which is used for not only blocking ads, but I primarily use it for my DNS server. Then we got NGINX. Not sure how to pronounce that just yet, but this is used as a reverse proxy, and I use I'll show you, I don't use the terminal version, I use the GUI, so this is definitely useful for those that are not going to dive deep into any proxy settings and stuff like that. And then you got Home Assistant. I will go back to this though. I do plan to dive deep into the actual CLI or the terminal using the reverse proxy, but I just found this to be a little bit easier when I was first setting this up a couple years ago, and I just got everything spun back up this year, as I had moved previously or recently within the last year, 2 years, and I'm just trying to get everything set back up. So yeah, that's pretty much all the hosted services right now. So for those that are not familiar with the N8N, definitely give this a look. It is super cool. So this is just hosted in my home lab, so it's got no certificates or anything like that. So I'm just gonna go ahead and pause this real quick, and we're gonna log in, just kind of show you exactly what I've been working with recently. So previously I had a few other automations. It recently got deleted, which is kind of the whole point of me diving more deep into my home lab, as I want to have a more a better solution as far as infrastructure goes. So if stuff gets taken down, I could easily spin it back up, which is something that I'm working on with, obviously, with Docker and a few other things, and backing it all up. But one automation that I'm working on recently, not really relevant to this video, but just kind of want to talk about. It's pretty cool. This is just 2 triggers, or a trigger and an action, something that I'm just working on now. What it's going to do is it pretty much takes in a video file, and then from that video file, it's going to go ahead and transcribe it using AWS Transcribe. First, it goes into an S3 bucket, then it uses AWS Transcribe, and then from that, it will generate timestamps. And then from that information, we could also do a few other things, maybe even create a blog post, which is something that we actually did on the last video. I'm not sure if I want to do it just yet. I'm trying to optimize it the best way I can to make it also provide value, but also generate traffic to our channel. So that's something that we're working on with that automation. This is obviously going to get a lot more in depth, but it's something cool. Definitely check it out. You can pretty much automate everything, especially if you have the self-hosted version, as there's not any limitations, at least within reason. I think there's a few limitations at the top, but nothing too crazy. But that's N8N. Next, we have our Pi-hole. So for those that are not familiar with this is a way to block ads. Honestly, most of the time I turn it off. Like, this is not even that many. Now, I think I've had it on recently, just left it on. But something I'll show you in Home Assistant that I had generated that allows me to block it easily, or turn it off, because really it doesn't. Sometimes it just causes more harm than good, because it might disable a website that's not really an ad, but because it has running ads on it, it blocks it, or whatever the case may be. But really, primarily what I use it for right now is just a local DNS server. So we go into local DNS records, and here's kind of what everything I got going on. Some of these need to be deleted. I don't run torrents. I don't have test.local. Now there's a few others too that I can delete later on. But as you looked at already, we had the -local. This is hosted on our Raspberry Pi. We have the Home Assistant, also hosted on the Raspberry Pi. Conboard. This was a video that we had done not too long ago. Honestly, I gave good review about it, but it was not something that I stuck with, and this is something that we'll talk about later on. N8N, we just talked about, reverse proxy, Pi-hole, and then prox.local is not relevant anymore. But this is a way to, I guess this isn't relevant either. This is a way to set your DNS records, just using my Pi-hole, and then I point my computer. Sometimes when I'm getting a little frisky, I'll point my entire network to this DNS server. But that's something that I want to stand up maybe in this year, is I want to have some high availability option. So if my DNS server goes down, I'm not going to get yelled at by other people in the house. So that's something that we got to work on in the future. So that's it for DNS or Pi-hole. And then, as I said, here is NGINX. I'm going to go ahead and pause that real quick. All right, so here's the proxy manager, which is the word I was looking for before. This is essentially the GUI version of it. And a lot of it, you're going to find the same information. For those that are not familiar with the process, so essentially what happens is when you go back into Pi-hole, so NGINX is hosted on the Raspberry Pi. 107 is a virtual machine that I have on my Hyper-V environment, but my Raspberry Pi is 192.168.1.51. But with that being said, the reverse proxy, or the NGINX, so if we point everything to it, which is this address here, depending on the settings that we set here, so if we access -e local, which gets pointed to 192.168.1.51, if this reverse proxy notices the DNS name, it will go ahead and forward that request to the correct IP address, which we have on right here. So this is my my Hyper-V environment as well, the 107, but here's a few others as well. If anything, or if any of this interests you, definitely let me know in the comments below, as we go ahead and cover different tutorials related to these services that I'm discussing today. But that's pretty much going to cover the quick links, the home network, my websites and services. Next thing that I kind of want to jump into is our website. So I kind of briefly touched on it, but definitely give it a check out. cyberme.tech. We're trying to get bigger into it in 2025. I do got to figure out a way to automate this, because this banner here is not necessarily true, as it's not the latest video. So I want to find a way to automate this to pull in the latest YouTube video from my channel, because this is from a video from 6 months ago. Definitely give this a look out. This is a pretty good video as well. We kind of talk about Open API Playground. Definitely useful for today. Kind of just talk briefly about our story, the passion of tech, and the reason why we're here and what led me here. This could be a little bit longer, but it kind of gets the point across. And obviously, as you can tell with my videos, I am very passionate about the topic. Then you got a little section here with the recent blog posts, and then we kind of talk about what is our vision here. Just kind of not really that important. But here, this is something that we're going to kind of talk about a little bit more. 2025. I might have mentioned it last year, but this is something that I want to kind of introduce this year and provide more value to my viewers. So feel free to sign up now. I don't think we're going to be providing any value just yet. This is something that I still have to plan out and put on my calendar to decide what I'm going to do and how I'm going to do it. But definitely keep this in mind. I will announce this again in the future. But if you do add your address, I will get a notification, and I will keep note of it. So going forward, you will get the free weekly newsletter. And this might include just, tech news that I'm interested in, or that we may be interested in, updates on different videos that are coming up in the future, and even discounts, which is something that we'll talk about now. So here at the top, labs, this is not here yet. This is something in the works. I think we started introducing this idea last year, but I'm hoping to do it in 2025. Essentially, what we want to do is generate some courses. These courses will be more in depth than I can get into my YouTube videos. So instead of having 20-minute videos with playlists, I want to just have a more structured course and offer value to the community. So this is something that we're looking into. We might host it on Udemy or the other ones like Gumroad. But we're also thinking about maybe a way to put it on our website, and then certain subscribers maybe get access to it for free. I'm not sure how it's going to work, but that is something that we're looking into going forward, and that's something that you will get part of our newsletter. Then you get the blog, of course. So in here, the way I have it set up is that currently, if you click on the blog, you're only going to get the current year's, the relevant blogs. This year, we kind of fell off a little bit. We tried to do our best once we got back up and started. So in April of 2024 is when we kind of started generating some blogs again. Here, this one had some good content. I kind of broke it down. This one had some good content. But a few of them was kind of AI generated, just like this one that I talked about. So I'm kind of in the mix between on how I want to do it. Obviously, I want to provide value, but I also think that there's enough value in the videos that maybe that just providing enough information, in, for instance, in this post, will give you guys a little bit of a read through if you need to, brief read, but also it might have enough information for SEO purposes to, get us that extra traffic and to generate, additional views so we can keep this channel going. Obviously, that is the whole intent of, using these different resources. So that's how it is set up for our blog. So it's 2024. So in 2025, or maybe a few months thereafter, obviously I don't want to leave it blank. Or maybe I'll do like 2024, but then 2025 above that, I got to figure that part out. But we might switch this over. So it's going to be the new blogs. But if you ever want to see any of the old blogs, go into the archive, and then here you will see all of our old videos. These are before I started standardizing anything. So as you can see, this year and that point forward, you will start to see that we have starting on August 4th, you'll start to see that we started standardizing it and using a certain image size so they're all going to be consistent throughout. All right, and then you obviously have our socials up here. Another thing that we're going to be doing this year, this is still not pointing to anything, is our X, or our Twitter is going to be posted. We're going to be posting on that. And we're also going to be posting on our Instagram, and we now have a Facebook, all of which we're going to be posting on, and maybe potentially a LinkedIn in the future. So that's something that definitely you want to check out. For a while, we did not start posting, but until recently, we started posting again. Again, we're trying to generate as much traffic as we can because we want to keep these videos up and going. We do enjoy providing value, and we do enjoy teaching the material. So that's going to be that. And then obviously we got our YouTube channel here. So quickly, I just want to touch on one thing. So in or just a few months ago, we had talked about a few note-taking platforms. I can't necessarily remember all of them. One of them being Notion. It is something that's useful, but I just found that I had so many notes in Joplin, and it was already useful. It's already self-hosted. It's something that I stuck with. Now I might change this going forward, but I do find Joplin to be an awesome solution. So for those that are interested in taking notes, there's other ones like Obsidian and stuff I might consider because it just looks cool. It has different integrations and stuff. Might be easier to parse through or search or maybe integrate with AI. I'm not entirely sure. But Joplin has definitely helped me. I have hundreds of notes here, all with different topics, and they got tags and everything else, different formatting and stuff. So this is definitely useful. Definitely give this a look. It's also self-hosted. I self-host this, or I just download it essentially, but I'm also able to sync it with all of my apps or my devices, and then I'm also able to back it up. So currently I'm working on an automation to back this up to my Raspberry Pi, and then I'm working that automation to back it up to S3, just for, to have it in the cloud and be away from, the whole 1-2-3 or 3-2-1 rule of backups. And then we're going to close this video out with just our YouTube channel. So I'm not going to go, last year I kind of went more in depth into the analytics. If that's something that you're interested in, just let me know. We could also do another video talking about it. But we'll kind of just walk it through real quick. So currently we're at 1.13K, which is about 1130 or 1,130 subscribers. The goal that we had set, we had started a little bit late. We set anywhere between 1,200 and 1,500, so we're pretty close. And we did start kind of late, like I said, and we changed things. One thing that I'm trying to do with every video, or at least every week or every month, I'm trying to continuously improve. I think this year we did a little bit better with our icons. I just got to figure out, I think I did better material this year, although some of the videos that I've covered in the past have done a lot better, like our Minecraft videos. So we're still trying to figure out exactly what we want to do. I'm also trying to stick to, I want to teach what I like and then what I enjoy. Obviously, it makes it worth it, but I also want to provide value, like I said. So some of the things that we had covered recently was DevOps/AWS, GitLab and stuff like that, Dockers and pipelines. This is something that we're going to continue to cover. These videos I'm going to kind of redo, but more in a structured format, as I kind of thought about it after the fact. After like the second video, I was like, oh, let me kind of make a series out of it. So this is something if you're interested in. We're going to continue making DevOps and AWS type videos. This one wasn't that good. I mean, it was good, but I just hate the title of it. It's not commands. I didn't just cover commands in this. I covered more than PowerShell commands. I just covered like commandlets and different functions and stuff like that. Useful tips and techniques within PowerShell. Yeah, so we covered more AI and stuff. We did OpenWRT. I think the biggest takeaways over the last 3 months, or even the last year, I should say, was Security Onion was a big hit. That was 3,000 views within 3 months. Another one was OpenWRT with 7 months. It's pretty much almost at the same rate as 5.6. Same thing with OpenWRT. So the reason why I say that is because it seems that security obviously is something that is, here's another one for Waza or Wazoo. Security seems to be a hot topic, and it's something that I do enjoy and something that I plan to continue to cover and and develop in. So that's something that we're going to keep on this channel. I just want to kind of give you guys that idea of what we're going to do going forward. So we're going to stick to the cybersecurity and stuff. We're going to introduce more videos there, and then we're also going to keep going with the DevOps, AWS, cloud stuff, because I think that's the future. I think that's the way forward. But in addition to that, we're also going to keep AI. Right? So we have a few AI videos, but we want to dive deeper into AI. AI is the way forward. I mean, there's no way around it. Like here was a big one. We hit this one off. This was 11 months ago, but within the first 3 days, we had like 700 views. Now it fell off pretty quickly. But I mean, like I said, this is the way forward. This is the future. You got to learn GitHub Copilot, right? I mean, that was the whole point of this video. But it's just another tool in the toolbox. And I mean, the techniques and tools have changed dramatically since this point. So you got to stay relevant. You got to stay on top of it. So that's kind of what we're going to try to do going forward. And then maybe we'll kind of talk about different tips and stuff. I did one video here, didn't do that well. There's a few people that I watch online that do pretty well. So maybe I just got to adjust my strategy and how I present that information to you guys. But if you think this is valuable, let me know, and I could kind of gear more towards those as well. But I like to provide technical tutorials. This was kind of just like an overview of, oh, hey, this is something you should look into, or this is something that you should do, or whatever the case may be, certificates you should go after, or different YouTubers that you should follow. But yeah, that's pretty much it for 2024. So that was a pretty long video. We kind of just did a recap on the home lab maintenance services. Another thing that I also want to say is that we're going to also get more into home automation. And the amount of videos that we're going to come out is we're going to definitely try to do at least one a week. So it's 4 videos a month. We'll see how much, maybe we could try to do a little bit more, maybe do some shorts. But at minimum, we're going to try to do one a week. If we miss a week, maybe we'll try to make it up the following week or the week after. But that is the plan. If we could do more, we would like to do more, but time is limited. So with that being said, that's going to close out today's videos. If you guys ever have any recommendations or any questions or anything you would like, definitely drop a comment below, subscribe for more, and as always, never stop learning.